Welcome to another week, another episode of Experience Andy Wines Live. And today we're going to be talking about the difference between an issue and an ish-me. First, we're going to talk about gratitude. I've been celebrating gratitude the last year and it has made my life a better life. When I focus on the red car, I see the red car. When I focus on catching people doing the right thing, I look for people doing the right thing. And when I reflect on all the great things that happen in my life, I start to look for things to reflect on, to embrace the greatness that is my life. And today I'm going to think something that's a little bit different. I had a great coffee conversation today with a friend. And as we were talking, I was talking about the things I am that I identify with as a title, titles that matter to me. I'm a father, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a soldier. And the conversation got brought up is, are you always going to be a soldier? Because now that I've been in the military 20 years and I'm faced with this opportunity to retire in the next 3 to 5 years or so, it's finally dawning on me that there's going to be a day that I'm not going to be a soldier. I'll be a veteran. Certainly, I'll carry that with me to my grave, and not a soldier. And a lot of service members struggle when they're no longer soldier, sailor, airman, Marine. They're no longer that thing that they've identified with so often, so long. It's been over 20 years I've been in the military. More than half my life, I've been a soldier. And I am extremely thankful for that title. I'm thankful for all the lessons I've learned along the way. And someday when I'm no longer a soldier, I'll be grateful for the fact that I got the opportunity to serve. And so I'm taking this moment now, before it's too late, to appreciate this opportunity I get to put the uniform on every now and then, serve my country, serve my community, continue that patriotic journey I've been on for over 20 years. So I'm thankful for that. And my ask of you is, what is a title you have today that you're thankful for? What is a title you had in the past you were thankful for? What can you take with that as you move forward? What did you learn from those opportunities? I know being a father is huge. So many lessons I've learned over the last 10 and a half years of being a father, and all those lessons that have made me better in other ways. Having a daughter made me a lot softer than I thought I was. It made me a lot more patient, as anybody with kids would know. And so because I'm a father, I end up being a better entrepreneur, being a better business partner, being a better soldier. So think about all your titles that you've had in your life and how have they made you the person you are today, and be grateful for the greatness that those titles have given you. Second order of business, let's pay some bills. I'm here. I give of myself every week, all day, every day. I give of myself. I come here every week and I share this information with you. And you can watch all my episodes. You can read my book. You can read my next book when it comes out, and you'll get all the information. And there's some people that want to go deeper. They want me to apply these tactics and techniques, this structure to their life. They want me to dig deep into what they're doing one-on-one to allow them to find their unique ability, to find the greatness within them. So those are the people I serve. I serve women that are in executive positions. They're looking to grow through operations, finances, mindset. Those are the things I focus on. So for those people that applies to, and you want to go to the next level, hit me up. Find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Send a carrier pigeon. My phone number and email address are relatively available on the internet. I want to talk to you and see how we can collaborate together to get you where you want to be. All right, let's talk about issues. There are lots of issues in this world. And what I realized in one of my last relationships I was in, and whenever we would be arguing, whether it was for real arguing or talking through situations that were confrontational, I would often use the line, sounds like a you problem. And in my head, my very analytical, straightforward mind, it's like, it sounds like a you problem. Like, you can solve it. And yet there was a condescending tone that the other person picked up on. And although it was sarcastic and but there was definitely a seriousness to it. Like, it's your issue, you solve it. Whether they were having an issue at work, they were having an issue with their kid, hell, they were having an issue with me. I would always say, sounds like a you problem. And that ended up not always slapping the way I wanted it to. And so what I learned recently is sounds like an issue, not an ish me. And now all of a sudden, that same cadence with the same audience, all of a sudden people are a little more responsive. It's not as aggressive. And what I'm saying to these people is, let's focus on what you can control. It goes back to the whole serenity prayer, right? The courage to change the things you can and the wisdom to know the difference, after the serenity to accept the things that you cannot change. I want to focus on the courage to change the things you can. That's where our focus is going to be today. So often there's times where things come up and all of a sudden it's an activate an event, right? We have a choice. Do we respond consciously with our big brain, our creative, our confident, clarity brain, right? Or Do we react to the stimulus, the one thing, the trigger, the one uncontrollable situation that gets the better of us, as people may say? Do we allow that to cause us to have an emotional reaction wherein we are now operating in our subconscious of fight, flight, or freeze? And what ends up happening is you see an issue with another person. You see a problem with another person, and you start using that you language instead of the I language where you take ownership. And so I sarcastically say sounds like an issue, not an ish me, because who's really the one with the problem here? Also, who has the responsibility to solve it? Oftentimes we want to talk about fault. Who's to blame? There's a difference. Fault and blame live in the past, right? Okay, so this person's at fault. Now what? Who's going to take ownership, accountability, responsibility moving forward? And the way this looks like with our language is our 6 most powerful ways to start the sentence. I am, I can, I feel, I know, I want, I will. 6 most powerful ways to start a sentence. I am. Declare, what do you stand for? What matters most to you? What value or belief do you own in this situation? What ownership do you have for the outcome or the thing that already happened? And how can you own it moving forward? I can. Start with all the possibilities in the world. This is what I can do about this. I can focus on the issue. I can focus on other people. Or what can I do about this? I feel. How do I feel about the current situation? How do I feel about the solution? How do I feel about myself being near this entire situation? Start with the feeling. Where's that coming from? The why behind. Why do I feel upset about this situation? Maybe the situation is completely fine and the issue is within yourself. I know. Oftentimes we think, I think this is what they meant. Oh, I assumed that's what they were doing. Oh, I thought about it. What do you know? What can you prove with data and facts? What is inarguable that you can articulate specifically? The smaller you make the target, the more likely you are to hit it. I feel this way, and I know you said this. Now we have a starting point because now you just start to own your feelings. You start to own the data instead of you make me feel this way and not a good way. I want. We talked about what we can do. But what do we want to do? What end state do we want to achieve? Not I need puts pressure on other people in society and it talks about what you need to be whole because you are incomplete without. No, I want. Starts with I am complete as I am. And this is what I want to accelerate my life. I'm here and I want to go there. Because need is I'm down in the dumps and I need this just to get through the next day. That victim mindset where you're justifying your need to exist versus I am therefore and I want so I will. Getting to our last statement, I will. When you want it so bad, what will you do? How will you solve it? When looking at a situation, is an issue you or is an issue me? What is it within the issue that I have control over? The courage to make those decisions. And when you sit down and go through those 6 questions, when you answer the 6 questions, when you own those 6 questions, you take ownership, accountability, and responsibility, living above the line, you can start articulating. And once you start articulating that movement, that articulation, that movement of your mind will get the momentum to see you through the process. And yes, it is this sterile sometimes. Yes, this is what intentional reflection looks like. I am upset. Okay. Why are you upset? Let's answer that question. What can I do about it? How do I feel now and how will I feel once the issue is resolved? I know the data. This is what I know to be true about the entire situation. Not I think, I assume, again, those things, right? This is what I want. Because that feeling you have is the gap between where you are and what you want. And once you have that all figured out, you can declare what you will do. Not should do. I should do this. I could do this. I would do this if I had. No, what will you do? Nobody gives a shit about what you can do, you won't do, you don't do. I'm not here to listen to what you're thinking about, trying, or talking about. I want to know at the end of the day, brass tacks, what will you do? Life is a question of what you are willing to get after what you are willing to give happens first. Get only comes before give in the dictionary and nowhere else in this world. When you want something, when you desire that object, you gotta be willing to put in the work. So what are you willing to do when the stimulus comes rolling down the road? What are you willing to do when a situation is becoming overwhelming? What are you willing to do when you're feeling a way that you don't want to feel? When you answer that question, you start to become the victor of your story, not the victim of your circumstance. The victim of the circumstance talks about you language. Oh, you son of a bitch, you ruined my life. That's a pretty classic example. Oh, you made me feel this way, and not in a good romantic way like that song. When you use I language, you take ownership. And maybe your can is a very small list. What can I do today? I can get up with a good fucking attitude. Start there. I guarantee you, when you control what you can control, the dopamine will start dripping. You'll start thinking about possibilities. You'll live that life of abundance versus that life of scarcity, only looking for problems. I often talk about my redneck logic. An educated man will find a problem to every solution. A redneck will find a solution to every problem. A little bit of ignorance is a beautiful thing. Naivety can be the beginning of a journey that you have yet to see. Go into situations with eyes wide open. Go into situations as though it's not going to hurt. Like that old adage, right? Sing as though nobody's listening. Dance like nobody's watching. Fuck that. Go into life. Tell the world what you're going to do. Show the world who you are by doing the fucking thing. Starting by talking about what will you do. I will because I want, and I know that I will feel this way because I can, because at the end of the day, I am. Look yourself in the mirror. Who are you? How can you look at situations in a different sense? By looking at it from a victor's perspective. My challenge to you this week is very simple. Follow the 6 steps in reflection. Take those moments throughout your day to reflect on why you are feeling a certain way. Answer those questions. Start to take control of your mindset. Your body will follow. Have the courage to dig deep. Have the courage to reflect. When you reflect, you become aware. And when you become aware, you start to realize the opportunities in real time. You start to regulate yourself in real time. And you become the victor of your story. This week and every week, ladies and gentlemen, do the fucking thing. Tell the fucking world. Show the fuck up. We'll see you next week.